Hello there! This is Sorvesteon coming to you from Riders of Icarus, and I am back at Fort Bayless in the Sea of Icarus to bring you another taming guide. This time for the Gilded Benthic, which is a really ugly looking mount in my opinion. But you guys requested it, so I'm gonna do it. Now, the Gilded Benthic is also one of the more difficult elite mounts to get in the game. Not because it's particularly hard to tame, but because getting the item to tame it is really hard. Now, you can go and do this one of two ways, the easy way or the hard way. The easy way is to literally just come down and go to your local auction house. There we go. And type in the name Ocean's Call. That's the name of the item. And yeah, let's just go to lower price. Okay, so you can get an Ocean's Call for 8 gold. And that's a good deal, considering the amount of farming you're going to have to do to get all the mats to craft this thing. You will make way more than 8 gold doing something else than you will farming all this stuff to craft this item. So it's a good deal for your, for the amount of time that you have to put into this. Now, if you don't want to spend the gold, or you want to do things the hard way, then, well, I'll show you how to do that. And it all starts with this recipe, the Ocean's Blessing recipe. Now, this recipe drops off of 3 bosses in the game. One being the Storm Dragon Attendrin, which is over by Fort Zenon. It's also a quest monster. The other being King Sorvesteon, which is an elite mob down in Rainbow Reef. He's kind of the boss down there. And then there is Ateus in Ateus Peak. Now, Ateus is probably the more difficult way to get one of these. So your best bet would probably be to get the recipe off of Attendrin or King Sorvesteon, unless you're, part of a guild and, you run Ateus Peak a lot. The recipe itself is not that common. In fact, through the whole process of me killing these 2 bosses like 40 plus times, I got the recipe twice. Once off of each boss. And believe it or not, I got the Ocean's Blessing recipe off of Attendrin the first time I killed him. Which is one of the reasons why I'm doing this video. Because this recipe is really hard to get. Like I said, in 40 plus kills of Attendrin, I got the Ocean's Blessing recipe once. So this thing is a really rare drop. Now I've already gone and learned it. And, oh, I want to go to barter crafting. Alright. And it has a fairly extensive shopping list as well. Why? Because these items, not the familiar orbs, they're trivial. But the Sea Stone and the Ocean Soul Fragments, oh boy, you're going to have fun with those. These are all uncommon drops, and they only drop off of bosses. The aforementioned bosses, Attendrin and King Sorvesteon. Now, Attendrin seems to drop the Ocean Soul Fragments, whereas King Sorvesteon tends to drop the Sea Stone. At least that's what I found. I didn't see King Sorvesteon drop the Sea Stone, and I didn't see... Oh no, sorry. I didn't see Attendrin drop the Sea Stone, and I didn't see King Sorvesteon drop any Ocean Soul Fragments. So, it looks like, at least from my experience doing this, you're going to have to farm both bosses in order to get the 2 items that you need. And they're both very uncommon drops, so be prepared to do a lot of farming. Now, I will show you how to farm these 2 bosses because, well, one's easy and one's not so easy. Okay, so here I am at the Rainbow Reef, and I'm going to show you how to farm King Sorvesteon, the one who drops the Sea Stone. So to do that, you got to come down here behind this kind of thing, and you can see, like, look at that. Yeah, I've got an Elite Shaman there. On both sides, I want to try and avoid that. Now, you will want to mount up because this guy is quite difficult. Now, I don't like farming this guy. He's really, really glitchy. You're going to see why in just a moment. Okay. Yeah, see? He just, like, pats back and stuff, and okay. Anyways, let's just try and whittle down his health a little bit. He has a lot of health, so he's not, like, an easy mob to farm either. And he does this AoE smash ground thing, which will knock you off your mount, which is really annoying. And then he does this big strike thing. So he's really annoying, and he has a high chance of kind of de-aggroing and like running up the sides of those walls and all sorts of stuff. It's really annoying. See, it's just, and he sometimes does it repeatedly. Like, it's really freaking annoying. You have to get back on and mount up again, and yeah, it's just really annoying. It takes a lot of time to kill this guy, as you can see. Now, I mean, I was lucky. I got into a channel where no one else was trying to farm him, and people do. They farm him a lot. Like, you will have a hard time, you know, trying to farm this guy just because there's so many other people doing it. Okay. And he's not even guaranteed to drop anything. Like, sometimes he can just drop nothing, and it's really, really kind of... it can be a little bit frustrating. You also don't have very much room to work with, so, you know, if things don't happen to go your way, and he does, you know, glitch, which he is very... Whoops, I don't want to do that. I want to... there we go. Okay. See what I mean? It's very glitchy. Okay. There we go. Yeah. But he does have a chance to drop the recipe, which is nice. And he drops the Sea Stone, so, you know, he is... I have never seen him drop the other material, the Ocean Soul Fragment. Let's see, what did we get? Ugh. So I got a familiar orb, oh, and an Ocean Soul Fragment. Alright, so he does drop both. Seems like he drops the Sea Stone, and he drops the Ocean Soul Fragment, and he drops the Ocean's Blessing recipe. So he drops all three. But he's a really big pain in the butt to farm. Like, a really big pain in the butt to farm. You know, as you've seen, it takes a long time. There is an easier way to farm most of the materials that you need. And that is by farming the Storm Dragon Attendron over at Fort Zenin. Now, this guy is really easy. You just have to avoid his attacks. And one of them being that Magma Breath right there. But he can't move while doing it, so while he's doing that, you're just free to move out of the way. Really, really easy. And this guy, there's no one farming this guy. Well, at least not as much as King Sorvesteon. King Sorvesteon, you know, is farmed a lot. And so you're going to have some difficulty, especially if you play, you know, during prime time, farming him, because you're never going to be able to get the first hit. Whereas with this guy, not as many people farm him, though he is a quest monster. But because not as many people farm him, he is much easier to get your mats off of. And all you have to do to really farm him by yourself is just basically keep moving like I am. You know, he only moves when he's going to do an attack. And aside from that, his attacks, like his main attack, the Magma Breath, it takes a long time. You can see it, you know, charging, like there. Gives you lots of time to move out of the way. And yeah, and you can avoid his normal fire attacks as well, just by, you know, strafing to the side like what I'm doing. super easy. And that's what I did to get my mats. I basically just came over and I farmed this guy for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 straight hours. It took a long time. It was a very long and labor-intensive process. But he was much more enjoyable to farm, you know, with less competition. And he just super easy once you get the hang of it. All I have to do is just keep moving around, and it doesn't, well, I'm not going to say it doesn't take as long, but it's easier. And this is the guy that I recommend you farm, you know, if you're going to gather all the materials yourself. And he doesn't have a chance to always drop the stuff. He drops this azure set and some copper, and sometimes he just drops some officers' equipment. It's not a guaranteed drop that he's going to drop something. The recipe is quite rare, and so is the other items. So yeah, expect to be farming him for a while. You'll probably have to kill him in excess of 40 to 50 times. Yeah, doing what I just did there. Okay, now that I'm ready to craft the Ocean's Call, I just gotta head to my local barter crafting station. Go down, find the recipe. There we go. I've got everything I need. 1 sea stone, 10 ocean soul fragments, and 35 familiar orbs. And let's go ahead and craft that up. Now, one of the advantages to going and farming all the mats yourself and crafting it yourself is... Now let's change that. You receive Ocean's Call times 2. And that is the big advantage to crafting the Ocean's Call yourself, even though it is a lot of hard work to get all the parts for it, is that when you craft it, you are likely to get 2 or more. And that is really beneficial when you are trying to tame the Gilded Benthic, is that, you know, you get multiple attempts at it without having to go back and farm the items again. Whereas if you just go and buy it on the auction house, well, unless you buy more than one, you're only going to get 1 attempt. So if you fail, well, then you have to go back and get another one. Okay, so I am here at the Gusting Isles, which is just in the northeast corner of the Sea of Icarus. It's not that far of a fly from the Cloudy Farms, which, you know, I can see just right there. And there is the Gilded Benthic. So, like all elite mobs, you really should try and whittle down their HP before you start trying to tame them, just to give yourself a better chance. Yeah, and he's really not that difficult. So maybe one more explosive shot. Yeah, we'll whittle his health down just a little bit more. Maybe to the L in level. Okay, I think that should be about low enough. So like before, when I did the Linux video, you want to make sure that you're like literally right on top of this guy before you start trying to tame, so that when you make the jump, you actually end up landing on top of him. Now hopefully the taming will go smoothly, because I've already whittled down his health quite a bit, and it looks like it is, so that's really nice. Perfect! See, the taming's not so hard. Getting the item is hard. Alright, so just before we finish up, I just wanted to show you the Gilded Benthic stats. It has 3 skills. One's a passive that increases its own EP. It gets an evasion buff, and it gets its own poison attack. Alright, so that is how you tame a Gilded Benthic in the Sea of Icarus. And this has been Sorvesteon. Don't forget to click like and subscribe to my channel for more taming guides. Until next time, adventurers, take care and happy taming.